Hello, everyone. D. Alfred Ostrowski here. In this recording, I'm going to be giving a demo of RabbitMQ messaging server, and I'm going to be using Golang to write a quick producer and consumer applications for that server. So let's get started. I'm going to be running everything on Amazon EC2 instance, and I'm going to give you everything you need to do it. No prior knowledge or installation. We do everything from scratch. The only assumption is that you have an Amazon EC2 AWS account and some knowledge of navigating your EC2 instances, as well as having a PPK key generated and access to some type of Unix client. I use PuTTY. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to launch an instance right from scratch, right from the EC2 instance. I'm going to run Ubuntu as usual, as I usually do. And I'm going to use a T2 micro. I don't really need much more resources than that. I'm going to set my key pair and set my default everything else and log into the instance. So as this is running, I'm going to start to set up 4 PuTTY sessions, really 3, so I can run the RabbitMQ and the producer consumer application, right? So let me go to instances, and I have my instance coming up here, and I'm going to grab my IP and set up my PuTTY sessions and line them up so we can get up and running. And we're going to get this up and running pretty fast. Set up my usual configuration for PuTTY. Pardon the wait here, but I wanted to do, again, everything from scratch. And you can go into Amazon and duplicate exactly what I'm doing and get up and running immediately with RabbitMQ, right? So let me line up a few more sessions here. And again, get this all set up and we don't have to worry about it as we move forward. So you can build your own RabbitMQ server from source. We're not going to do that. We're going to do a quick and dirty method. I'm going to do a Docker pull and pull down a Dockerized, containerized application of RabbitMQ that is so graciously provided. Also going to provide all the references that I use to access this, so you can do further research if you're so interested. So let me get one more together and we will be quickly up and running, right? All my commands and software are going to be located on my GitHub, and you will be able to, and that will be pointed to below this video. Okay, so you'll be able to access that. Very good. So for brevity, I'm going to run everything out of the default home Ubuntu directory. I'm only using this as a sandbox just to get up and running. So first thing I'm going to do is do sudo app update. This will give me prerequisite software to pull the additional software from the cloud and get that installed appropriately. I'm going to need Docker, okay? So I'm going to do a sudo snap install Docker. Again, the commands are all in the README file appropriately. I'm going to use a command I don't frequently use after that. I'm going to do a sudo docker pull, and this will give me the pre-baked containerized RabbitMQ server. Good to go, okay? You're going to be doing extensive configuration or modification. You'll probably eventually may gravitate to doing your own build and construction of your own server. But let's just get up and running. I'm going to do sudo docker pull RabbitMQ. This is going to give me the environment, everything. I don't even have to worry about Docker at this point. I'm going to install that to run my client. But let's just get that server up and running, and then we can run off the DNS we can run through the browser monitoring utility that they have. So I'm going to do a sudo docker run, some configuration here. I'm going to run at 15.672 and run the containerized Rabbit message server. So I'm not getting any substantial errors. I'm going to do one thing from the Amazon console, set my security, make sure I don't have any problems with access. So usually I go through a browser, then I have to get out of secure shell. So I'm going to touch my inbound roles, and I'm just going to shotgun and send it to all traffic, as I usually do with most of my videos. I set up some type of web server or anything I'm going to be accessing externally. So all traffic, anywhere IP4, do IP4, IP6, IP4 usually just covers it. So that should be good to go. At this point, I can go back, get out of security, a little low in real estate here. And I'm going to grab my public DNS, and then I can start a new tab and paste it in here. And I can start up my IP. (15.672), right? And I'm able to access my local monitoring utility that's within the containerized application. And I can log in as guest. I don't have to do any administration to set up accounts. And this is really nice, really just to get in immediately, be able to monitor the activity that's going on here. So I can monitor the application, what's going on with my applications here. So, and I got my remaining terminals here from which I can build my Golang application. So let me install Golang before I proceed. And I'm going to start editing my producer consumer applications. I'm just going to cut paste and directly out of my GitHub. We're going to have to modify the DNS. Can't use localhost. I have to hard code my DNS to get these applications up and running. So this will complete shortly. And I'm going to do a producer file first and pull that in. I'm cut pasting the whole file. It's not a lot of code, but let me pull it in, edit it, and I'll modify the DNS, and then we can step through line by line and take a look at the code and see exactly what it's doing. We'll call this prod.go. Copied in my file, head off screen, pulled in a little bit more. Now I could do a clone. Didn't buy me a whole lot. Okay, so I don't have a complete environment to pull in. I'm just doing some quick and dirty, getting this up and running. So I'm not too worried about it. So I want to modify my DNS, and then we're going to step through all the code to get up and running here, right? So you grab my DNS once again here. And edit that appropriately. Make sure it's saved, and just jump right back in, and let's start from the top here, right? So I have import package main, import the two libraries format, and Threadway MQP within the main function. I send a message to standard out. For RabbitMQ, I set up a connection to that DNS guest in similar fashion that I did with the monitoring utility. At 56.72, I do some appropriate error message handling, similar nature what I've done with a lot of the Golang language examples with web servers. And in the case of an error, I do close in that connection. Otherwise, I establish a channel to communicate to my message server, do the appropriate error checking, and then I declare a queue from that channel. The names of the parameters here, I'm pretty much defaulting everything. I'm defaulting put test queue as the name, false for durable, auto delete exclusive and no wait, all false, and no extra arguments. So default all the parameters for the most part. Let's just get up and running, write and read some messages to and from our queue, right? So do some appropriate error handling, and then I publish those messages here, just writing in this case, just a single array bytes, new hello world. Some more error handling, and that is it, and then a complete. So the very bare bones minimum application. Let me do the consumer, call it cons.go. It's going to look very, very similar to the producer, not surprisingly. And I'm going to copy this in from my GitHub. So I got it off screen. I'm running out of real estate here a little bit. And just paste it in here. Let me grab my DNS. And eliminate the extraneous information here. Edit my DNS, and we're going to step through this line by line and take a look at what we got here. There we go. Saved it off. I'll just go back. Okay, so got package main, import the same two libraries. In this case, write a message standard out, consumer application. Let's set up that connection. Make sure I validate the DNS guess. Set up the appropriate error handling as I did with the producer. Here I declare a channel, some more error handling, close it on the case of an error. And then from that channel, I invoke the consume, same name of the queue, and I default all the parameters in similar fashion. Here I'm running a tight loop where I loop back to forever on that channel, and I have an internal function that is going to loop through the body and print out the associated messages from the queue. That's pretty much it, okay? And send out the appropriate messages, the standard out to follow that up. So now all that is left is to set up the mod file, and we should be good to go. So I'm going to accomplish that. First, I want to install the MQ library. So I'm going to do a go install, and then my go mod init. So I'm going to pull that in. Now I need a Golang to do that. So, but I've already installed that. Again, these commands are all listed under the README file. So you can just cut, paste, and burn through this tutorial just as fast as I'm presenting it to you, okay? Even as while you're watching, in fact, if you have your instance available. So I have to write the tidy command, and this will ensure the consistency between the mod file and the application, right? And I should be good to go. Okay, let me do a go. What I name my file. So I listed it as a go run prod, go. So this came back, this ran a single message, and I can run it a few times. Here I ran it 4 times, and you see I started with test queue 0, 1, 2, 3, and I'm getting a successful message back. The error handling is not dumping on me, so it's looking pretty good. Let's look at our monitoring facility and take a look. I can see my messages bumped up here, so I have some activity that's being recorded. Things are looking really good. So at this point, I can go in and do a go run cons.go. And there we have it. There are the messages for the RabbitMQ instance that have been read. And you can rewrite that or extend that to whatever your application desires might be. So we're able to install from nothing the RabbitMQ server and install Golang and watch it with the monitoring facility, run the producer consumer application and access it from Golang. So thanks for listening. Hope this helps. And again, all the resources I referenced and my commands and software will be available on GitHub, all associated with this video. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye now.